Good evening, my name is Keith Romano. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Inland Wetlands Commission meeting for Town of Monroe. Town of Monroe, it is December 8th, 2021, and the time is 7:08 p.m. Please stand for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to take a roll call of the members of commission staff present during tonight's hybrid meeting. Please answer here or present, starting myself, Keith Romano. Lois Spence, who's our vice chair and secretary.
Here.
Jim Stewart, our treasurer and licensed engineer and surveyor, state Connecticut.
Present.
Clark Gingras.
Present.
Ross Masaraco. Present. DJ Hall.
Present.
Donna Stasinski, our office manager.
Present.
Sarah Stroud, recording secretary.
Here.
Thank you. All right, before we start, I'll read our mission statement and how the meeting will proceed. Inland Wetlands mission statement: the objective and purpose of the Inland Wetlands Commission is to provide for the overall protection and preservation of inland wetlands and water courses in the town of Monroe. Meeting procedure: please note that this meeting is being conducted utilizing electronic equipment in compliance with State Law Public Act 21-1. As such, this meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public in compliance with state law. If you are attending remotely, please remember to mute your microphone unless speaking. Anyone participating remotely should state their name and title, if applicable, at the outset of each occasion that such person is speaking. All votes taken during which any member of this body or participation remotely shall be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. The chat features will not be utilized nor considered during this meeting. In the normal course of our meetings, we will hear public hearings and other applications. The protocol for public hearings is to have an applicant make a presentation to the commission, during which and after which the commission will ask the applicant questions. I'd like to ask the applicants to keep the presentation as concise as possible. The commission will then review town staff and other independent comments. The meeting will then be open for public comment. I will ask that all comments be made to the chair or commission. After and all comments pro and opposition or general nature are made, the applicant will be given an opportunity to respond. Please keep comments or questions direct and a time of 3 minutes may be imposed. It's not necessary that the applicant respond, but generally in their best interest to do so. There will be no further opportunity for new questions unless new materials are entered in as evidence or testimony during their response. Please keep all comments pro and con specifically inland wetlands related matters. Other applications that do not involve a public hearing will follow a similar format with the exception that there will be no public comments allowed. The meeting follows a published agenda unless otherwise amended. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are none.
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 Okay, so now the general public participation period of the meeting. Anybody in the public want to address the commission about anything related to wetlands matters that is not something that's in front of us right now or to be in front of us in the near future? Anyone? Okay. Regulated activities, subdivision reports, recommendation in P&Z, none. Regular meetings, none. Public hearings, none. Enforcement, NOV discussions, 163 Barnhill Road restoration planting review.
So that was in your packets. It's just this, it was just this thing that had the red and blue lines. I think he was at a meeting, so I see that he's not on. So I think we're thinking about this area where they.
I looked at it and it could be good, it could be bad, because there's not enough. Viburnum has like, 40 different subspecies. Some of them are non-native and invasive, and some of them are native. And the same thing with Salix. I guess that's the way you pronounce it, which is willow. And there are a whole bunch of them that are native, and there's many that are non-native. So unless we know which ones he's considering, it doesn't do us any good.
Okay. So
That's my
would
opinion.
like clarification?
Yes, I certainly would.
This, I had this.
Want to see it?
Nice. Yeah, I saw that. So we're talking about just planting this road shoulder, the edge of the road, right?
Mhm.
That's what they're proposing. But I don't think that's really what we were suggesting to them at that last meeting. They wanted to do that anyways. our suggestion was to pepper the area that they clear cut with some trees that we're going to reestablish, right? Am I correct? Is that what we talked about?
That is.
Yeah, I think you're right, Keith. And
So,
for some reason I.
Granted, this may look nice and everything, but to me, that's just aesthetics. We were talking about the fact that they had basically land cleared the whole thing and took out every tree, and we want to try to reestablish, some cover, some trees that would mature. And that, I don't see it on this plan. I don't know if this is two parts or what. There's no one here to
No, I
tell
think
us.
this is all that they were, and Lois, I do believe they had originally proposed when Denise was here.
Oh, really?
Without this much
So-
detail.
Yeah.
More detail than we had. So this, I don't think
All right.
it's sufficient. really.
So I am just.
I'm just, I'm going to let you guys
Was it that at the
decide
last
if
meeting?
that,
Was that at the last
the
meeting?
last time we were here, he was here. And
Because I mean, I've got to go through and listen, and listen to the, which will come up later, but I've got to listen to the tapes again. So I can see what they
It might,
have to say at that point.
might be tough for them to specify sizes and varieties, because we did tell them, whatever you have left at the end of the season, they don't know what they're gonna have left.
Yeah, but I would definitely like to see non-natives. I mean, natives. I don't want to see any non-natives.
I was not
Because these are
even
gonna be
concerned about
permanent
shrubbery. I was, because shrubbery, in my mind, what I know about the industry is that a lot of times it's in pots, it's small, it grows a little bigger, they don't, not that that really matters. I think we were talking about the fact that they didn't cut down a field of viburnums. They cut down a field of mature, maples or
Mature
whatever
trees.
else.
Mhm.
And that's where I was coming from in my thoughts. So
Hmm.
I'll leave it up to you guys.
Was there anything that accompanied this? So is this something Joe should revisit with them to get more detail? And
I
I
will,
thought we were hoping someone would come talk to us.
and I think that was supposed to be the case, but again, I think the ball may have been dropped. So
Okay.
I can relay this to Joe that it's not sufficient and that you want to see more substantial planting and trees.
Concerned about non-native,
Right.
they need to be specific.
Wouldn't that be counteractive though, counterproductive? Because if he needs the sun to grow his plants or whatever it is he's growing, he's not going to want to put in anything that's going to grow to maturity and create shade.
It's going to be
right?
30 years before it has any.
Well, that's true.
He cleared a whole entire field to
Yeah.
increase his nursery stock,
Mhm.
how much plants he can have out there. So, oak trees let enough light in, anything will live under it for half a season. There's other trees, there's sycamores, there's other things that are sparsely leaved that he could put back in there. Again, stuff that, hardwood trees that are, what he took out.
I'm fine with that.
It's just that it should be, and again, they took the whole entire thing. If we were only going to give them 60%, we never had that opportunity to even negotiate on how much we're going to let him clear for his nursery stock. He took the whole area.
Mhm.
We're not going back and saying restore 40% of it. We're saying, pepper some trees here and there to make it kind of, maybe in the end, it'll look like a park, with some, nice big tree over here, a nice big tree over there, whatever. I mean, that's just me. I want you guys to have your own opinions also. And
Was there a letter sent to him? Was this all by word of mouth?
This was from when he was before the commission at the last meeting.
Okay, so there's nothing in writing that you know of?
I don't know if Joe may have sent something, but I don't know for sure. There may be an email.
Okay.
I'll check.
Well, I'll see what the last tape it says about our conversation. But I agree with Keith. I have no problem with that. Or even if it's along the edges, behind his shrubbery.
again, this is like supposed to be a place that does landscaping, and they don't even give us quantity on this, or?
Well, I don't
I mean,
think,
like, it's-
there was not,
Them as landscape.
my recollection is correct.
Hire them as landscape architects.
I'm saying, I feel like they're just kind of like, just trying to like,
Placate us?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think that you guys were very specific, if my
no, I
recollection
did,
is
we
correct.
said, that's why, that was one of the reasons why we
We
kind of left it
tried
up
to
to them.
be-
You guys are in this business,
Yeah,
you have to come up with something, we don't have to razzle dazzle us, but,
yeah,
a blue line and a red line, every landscape plan has circles,
right.
connected with lines, it looks like they just spent 30 seconds on this, and not that it had to be anything, but I think they missed what we were asking altogether. So any comments from any of the commissioners?
You heard mine. Mark has
Oh, we
none.
got anything from Blue Line?
He's got a puppy.
We want to just.
About the dog, what does the dog think? The dog want to raise its leg and make a comment about trees?
Yeah, more trees.
We were pretty vague the last time. Maybe we ought to just give them a little bit more direction and just get through it. 5 Coosa dogwoods with the line of.
No Cousas, they're not native.
Yeah, but they have that fruit that the birds love.
Yeah, but that doesn't, they
Flower.
don't support anything else. The whole concept of native plants is that they support all of the ecologic communities, not just birds.
How about the stuff that was there, that grew there for the last billion years, that they cut down? That's the stuff that wants to live there. So I thought I saw it in the picture, it looked like red maple,
True.
whatever else, it's a wetlands plant. Every 100 feet in a grid, or I don't even know what the dimensions of this place, 75 feet down the grid, you got to put something there that grows in those conditions and let it run.
What's the likelihood they'll
I mean, like, I've
survive?
been to a ton of nurseries where they got mature trees and all the plants are just around them. They don't necessarily clear cut everything to stock there. So,
Realistically, what's the chances that they'll survive though with machinery running around and depositing large plants and stuff like that in?
they're just, they got to give them a little bit of room. They got to be there. We could,
I told you, I'm good with it, but I agree we need to give them a little bit more direction.
Maybe like
I think, at this point, I think it doesn't look like it, maybe they want to do it now, but
Well,
I
we've
really-
been communicating this third hand, right? We told Joe and Joe told,
No, and
Here last
he
time.
was here at the meeting.
And we even suggested to not cost them any money, just stuff that was like left over and had to get healed
Right.
for the winter. Just use that stuff that didn't sell. It doesn't have to look pretty. It could be stuff that got passed over by everybody because it was a little damage or something. We don't care. It's just not, in front of a house. So I feel like they just didn't get what we were saying, or they just ignored it. So, but that was me.
Probably the second.
What?
I would say probably the second, considering the way this whole thing evolved.
Right. And,
So native plants, red maple, any other?
witch hazel is a nice plant.
I mean, I don't have any problem with the edging plants, and I'm sure he wants that to look nice. There's lots of native plants he could use along those lines. And if he needs some direction, he could talk to our master gardener, Barbara Thomas, who's on the Conservation Commission. I'm sure he doesn't. He's supposed to be a landscape guy himself. So,
the other thing too is the guy who came here was like, either a real estate agent or
No, I thought he was like the
The owner?
manager.
God, I'm throwing a complete blank on that. I'm keeping Jim
all
awake.
right, well, I think at this point, we're saying, what, acceptable restoration plan? Is that what we want to,
Yes.
everybody in agreement? Thumbs up?
Yep.
Everybody? Okay, so we'll report back whatever channels it takes, if this is insufficient. We're not even just considering it. All right, so remediation submissions, none. Application here and determination. We have IWC 2021-14. 334 Cutler Farm Road, 3-lot subdivision requiring to build a renovation. Applicant W. Smith Jr., engineer.
Do we even have to declare whether or not this is a regular or a public hearing? Because this is just a subdivision referral. There's no regulated activity being proposed.
Did I put it into the wrong thing?
Not that you did anything wrong.
No, I
It's
may
gotta be-
have.
It's in application hearing determination.
It should be more a referral then.
All right,
to
so this
planning
should
and
be moved
zoning.
up to,
I mean, there is wetlands here, isn't there?
yes,
Is, but
there's
there's
wetlands.
no,
Like they're staying away from
It's
the,
just a subdivision referral at this point. It hasn't turned into real site plans. So we don't have any, all they're asking is for our opinion on the way it's subdivided, to see if we agree with the way it's subdivided.
But they plan to deed some of the land to the town.
Right.
So to me, that says we should be looking at it.
Mhm.
Open space,
Oh, yeah, looking at it, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what the subdivision referral is all about, is just looking at it and then telling P and Z how we feel. Do we like the size of the lots? Do we like the placement of the lots?
what?
That kind of
Really?
thing. Yeah, that's what our job is.
but with this
With
also,
subdivisions.
since there is open space involved, it will move to the town. Conservation Commission should be reviewing this also.
Right.
I think,
Right.
because it's, I noticed on the adjacent,
really, application determination should, item D, 334 Cutler's Road should actually be under
Subdivision report,
B4,
right.
subdivision report, okay. Apologies for that.
Don't wanna
Sarah, if you
apologize,
can
it's
make a
fine.
note of that in your minutes.
Just like,
Yeah.
that's because there's wetlands on the property?
Yeah,
Right, but I
or
don't believe
within
it's
the upland review
impactful.
area.
Yeah,
Even if it was only upland review area, there was no wetlands at all,
Right, oh.
because
gotcha.
there's upland review on it, we still get a chance to look at it
Okay.
and say what we think about it. Sometimes the lots are really badly shaped and could be shaped in a better way to prevent encroachment, blah, blah, blah. This one, well, we don't have to do that now, but that's all we're doing. There's no
Okay.
site plans, there's no regulated activity, no roads being built. So it's strictly a subdivision referral.
so since this is going to be a referral, we are going to be able to discuss it tonight, or do we have to push it off?
I guess we can.
absolutely.
Yeah, if we-
Yeah, it's a referral. It's
Yeah.
it's not something that needed to be legal noticed or.
Right,
Yeah.
no public input,
Right.
so,
It doesn't look like it's bothering anything, so, I mean, the wetlands are so far to the far side of the property, they're not even gonna go near it.
Very clear, because it was like a farm, like a mini farm.
right, I think that area had been hayed or something, is it?
Yeah, it's a big meadow right now.
Yeah.
See, I mean, the only thing I would say would be it'd be nice to see an actual limit of clearing and a sediment erosion control drawing, just to confirm that they're not proposing to go back there and do something.
Well, this is only for the proposed lines, I think, at this
Yeah.
point. It's not for any, when they, Jim, when they go to do work, they'll have to resubmit with actual plans. This is really just to show, I think.
Show the subdivision lines. Well, then
Yes, and the
then
conveyance.
that looks very reasonable.
It's only two houses. They're leaving, I guess, leaving the.
Right, they're leaving the third one
original
in
house
the
there,
middle.
which-
They put the building square in there to prove to P and Z that they can, it fits the
Right.
zoning requirements. And they have a conceptual plan, which is something that, that shows that it could be done in this particular way.
All right, so what are we saying?
Do we see any reason to change anything?
No,
Oh,
I agree.
I think it's positive, very positive, with almost an acre adjacent to open space the town already has. So
Yep.
that's the right approach.
Okay, so Then I will move that we send a positive referral to P and Z.
Motion for a positive referral to P&Z for.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gingras. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, now we're on to,
Do you want the refer to the Conservation Commission? Someone had mentioned that. Yes, as a positive referral, but with a referral to Conservation Commission for review.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's
Okay.
do that. I like that.
Okay,
And say that we have nothing that we
Right.
have problems with.
okay.
All right.
okay, this is bond release reduction for IWC 2014-13-5 Victoria Drive, request for $30,000 to be released. Is this the soccer place?
Mm-hmm. And this is only one of their bonds. They have a ton of them.
Oh, did anybody go out to look at this?
Yes, Joe went out to
He
look.
did.
Joe
Okay.
Joe already said it's okay and done.
For this, what this bond was.
Okay.
They still have other bonds in place.
Because I was looking at,
Yeah, we released the bond.
A motion from Commissioner Gingras to release the bond. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed unanimously. That was you also, Ross?
Aye.
Yep. And
I didn't,
that
oh,
was.
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
Wanna
I
make-
said yes, I'm sorry.
Yep, it's okay.
I raised my hand.
Sorry, I gotta look to my left and my right on the screen. Everybody. Okay, so now we're at time extension. I-06-31. I've never seen one like this before. File number 508. A2 Cottage Street, 482 Sandbar Road, 14 lot subdivision, an additional 5-year extension as allowed under Public Act 21-163 to expiration would be 10/21/2027. Why is it, why, wait a second.
There's so much that doesn't sit well with this.
Are they like,
This was from the attorney, and it's my understanding, this original application fell under the statutes that had an 11-year extension. In other words, if it was approved before 2011 or something, it got an extra 4 years. And so it had its 5 years, it had its 4 years, and then it was allowed another 5 years. So it's still, the new extension date is in 2022. And apparently, recently, due to COVID, the governor, it's my understanding through this attorney's letter that the governor made a rule or made an act saying that they were allowing another 5-year extension for projects that were still viable.
okay,
I would like to see it that this a little bit more distinct, because this was 2006.
here's my
To
question.
bring it to 27
Yeah.
is 22 years.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So this had.
20, whatever
this-
it is, 21
This
years.
particular, there, and we have them in our office. This particular one did get that type of extension because of the acts that were in place.
But why is it 6 years? Is it not expiring until 10/21/2022?
Right, that was my,
It goes
gonna be
from
my
the, it
point.
goes from the 2022 to the, and you add 5 years.
But it doesn't
goes to the-
expire until October of 2022.
22. So
we don't
he's
need
here,
to do it a
he's here
whole
11
year.
months early. He's here 10 months early.
Yeah.
Right, but they should be doing it.
Right, it's smart. I'm not saying, but I'm just making sure that it wasn't a typo, because if it was,
No.
it's not saying, unless there was
No,
a
I
piece
was
of paper.
double checking the math on it, believe me.
I don't
So-
understand why they need to have it so early.
Because they know that it's, I guess, that it's not.
Did we have, is there anything else besides this? Is there, I didn't really get a chance to look through any of this stuff. Is there more to this?
To this,
Yeah,
just the letter.
just a letter.
Right, I have the original, so this is, you can take a look at mine. I don't know if I attached this.
Oh, it's this
Yeah, you did from 2017.
Yeah, the letter from 2017, and that explains the extensions that he got.
Is that attached? Yeah, okay.
Oh, I see it, okay.
Original-
Question, if there's, you got plenty of time to act on this, so if anybody has any questions or wants to do any looking, you can certainly just table this to the next meeting, or
That's fine.
want to
I
grant
think
it
I
now.
would like to do that.
And look into it. Okay.
Yeah. As I say, the original approval date was 2008.
Wait, this over by the
This
lake?
was not, this was from
Over by the
2006,
lake?
not 2008.
No, it's a cottage winds up towards Webb Park,
Right.
and then that,
But the approval date
so
didn't,
it's up by the power lines up there, I think.
Oh,
This is a big piece of land. I would like to physically see it,
I remember.
see what may have gone on there since 2006.
no, it wasn't,
there was,
the application came in 2006, but there were extenuating circumstances, so the approval did not happen until 2008.
Okay.
So that's why there's that.
I think I'd still like to,
Yeah, no, that's,
if anything has transpired there in the meantime.
yeah, okay.
I guess it's, their request, I'm just thinking of,
I just get.
I just want to make sure it's not an infringement, so, of their, so that, because I never heard of this one before, where someone's asking for a time extension and then the commissioner wants to inspect to see, oh, like, is that?
We don't usually get it this far in advance, and
Right.
that makes me
But I'm also wondering,
wonder,
I just want to know that it's, it's warranted. I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
what's warranted?
a site inspection for
Oh.
an extension. I don't know, because I never thought of it.
Well, I think anytime anybody wants an extension, it's up to the commission to be able to grant it. So if you're making a decision, and I don't know this for sure, but if you're tasked with making that decision and it's within your power,
Right.
then I think you should be able to do a site inspection because that helps you make the determination.
Right.
Could I ask this question? Are you aware of any action or application they may have before planning and zoning for this property that we should be referencing?
No.
So I would expect that we would, if were we to do a site inspection, we would see pristine undeveloped land,
I think so.
would hope.
Yes.
So we'd have to get permission from the owner or notification.
Well, actually, this is one of those drive-by things. You could probably see an awful lot just by driving
Oh,
by.
I would be satisfied with a drive-by.
Oh, drive-bys, okay, that's, yeah, you could drive by anything, anywhere in town. There's
There
no,
could be a lot
there's
going
no
on
private
here,
roads,
but
there's not.
It's a
I just
big
thought you were
parcel.
talking about, because you said it's a big piece, I'm thinking you want
It
to
is a
walk
big
it.
piece.
Yeah, 129 acres.
I remember this one.
Only
Oh, my
16
God.
houses.
And notice the number on it, 0631. We had 31 applications. And that was only in October
Back then?
that year, 2006. Yes, that was my first year, the year from hell. So, all right, if we could just table it till next month, it's not going to change their extension
Right.
date at all.
If you're gonna drive
I'll try
by.
to do a drive-by, yep. And we really don't have any information on it.
It is definitely one of the
No
old
man's land.
applications,
Yeah.
well before my time.
You know what, that reminds me, I was ready to say that Jim destroyed that was after,
I looked at some pretty rough land.
with all these extensions,
Remember we had the guy with that wild-looking house?
Anything, right.
It's up the same
I have to-
direction there, and that goes up the hills into power lines.
Yes.
I'm curious, I'm curious.
I would be,
Yeah, me too.
I'm just looking at it saying,
Turned into something.
right.
It is mountainous.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so
right.
with that, table to the, so this is tabled, this time extension for I-06-31, number 508 is tabled to the next meeting. All right, deliberation and completed hearings, agenda, determined by the commission, none. Agent approvals, none.
Wait.
Why we see that, you guys all know that we have a new person who's about to be hired, eminently being hired, right? Ron?
They were supposed to start on Monday, but unfortunately had a COVID exposure, so now they're quarantining.
Right, so, new guy, I've met him, he seems to be all there and good, and
Good. Look forward to meeting him myself.
And so permitted uses as of right, IPU 2018-01, Department of Public Works, road repair, replacement, or general maintenance, IW regulations, section 4.2C expires 3/28/2023. Enforcement deliberation on completing remediation submissions or items on this agenda, none.
Sorry.
Administration review, enforcement issues, none. Instead,
I think you could go a little faster if you tried.
18 is obviously a mistake because we already discussed
right.
it. My apologies.
No problem.
Status updates, nothing. Minutes of September 22nd, 2021.
I forgot, so we have to table them again.
All of them?
Well, I had forgotten that we already had them in hand, and I was waiting to get them, and they're not online. So I forgot, I didn't look at them again.
That's all 3 dates.
Yes,
So we're going to table
Table
the
them for next
discussion of
time.
minutes until next meeting. Vote on the 2022 inland wetlands meeting
This
schedule,
I definitely need.
and that is.
So I know you guys had discussed going down to 1 meeting a month.
I think that would be a big mistake. I'll tell you why. I went through 3 years' worth of agendas and meeting tapes and minutes and stuff, and disregarding the last 2 years. So I totally discarded 20 and 2021. And I only did 2017, 18, and 19. And in 2017, we had 17 meetings, which is pretty close to what we're having now. They averaged 3 hours and 17 minutes per meeting, and that was the average. In 2018, we had 18 meetings, which is one more. They averaged 2 hours and 56 minutes, which is almost 3 hours.
Right.
And in 2019, we had 19 meetings, and it averaged 2 hours and 45 minutes. We can't get all of that work into one night.
You just get too tired.
It just wouldn't work.
Oh,
We have to have
I wasn't
6-hour
here then.
meetings. What?
So I wasn't here then,
That's true.
but that's why I think we left the option of if we are getting jammed up.
But this
Right.
wasn't jammed up, Keith.
Well,
This
we've
was-
until we've done a 10 o'clock when we were doing the core, right?
Mhm.
So I would still rather do 4 hours once a week than 2 hours or 2.5 hours twice a week. Getting through all the,
Twice a month.
not twice a month, I mean.
But it's not 2 hours. It's almost all of them are
I-
between 2 3/4 and 3 hours.
No, I understand, but there's also the redundancy stuff and,
There's not that much redundancy, really.
We have one other thing, that the bylaws state that the meetings will be, meetings will generally be held on the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. So that's the way the bylaws read, that there would be 2 meetings.
we also skip 5 months or 6 months out of the year. We don't do 24, we do 17 and 19 and.
17, 18, and 19, as it
Yeah,
turns
here.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
So
just.
that's 5, 6, and 7 extra ones, and I've got this, I just saw it in here somewhere. This year we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We had 20 for this year, but we also canceled one of them, so we only have a 19.
Well,
I
this
think
year
that's
is
why
kind
we
of,
left it as, if we start to see a tremendous amount of business, okay, if you want to call it business, then we can add meeting, right?
I think that makes it confusing for the applicants and stuff, though. And for the staff, they're going to be like, do I have 3 weeks to get this done, or do I have 1 week to get it done?
Well, I think I don't have a problem either way, but I think in some ways then, if you're going to try and get things done, I would probably need to have a draft approval or denial prepared for whenever a meeting went to a public hearing, well, for whatever an application came through, so that the details would then have to be done that same night. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we got statutory
I'm also,
limits.
I don't know what, it's been a long time since I did anything in any other town, but I thought most other towns only have once a month.
Most towns don't have the amount of development that we have. I mean,
Woodbury has twice a month,
Who does?
Woodbury, where I live.
and they're not
Two
developing
wetlands
as
a
fast
month?
as Monroe.
2 wetlands and 2 P&Z. Same as this year.
Maybe things are different than last time I was.
There are some towns that only have one a month, but I listened in on a couple of them just for giggles one day. One had one every 2 or 3 months. We have one every 1 or 2 weeks, you know?
Right, and we do have
And with the
a lot of properties
coming
here that-
development that we have, we've got all of Main Street, that's going to be coming up and it's not that far away. And I don't know what's going to happen.
It's already been here.
Yeah, but they haven't got site plans yet. That's all preparation plans. When they come with site plans, that's going to be big and there's going to be public hearings.
I think the only thing that might, I think the problem, the biggest problem I see with it is that I think people, engineers and applicants, knowing that if they apply and they got in 2 weeks, they can have a hearing. So now people just have to worry, if you want to get in, you got to be a month, you got to be 2 weeks earlier than you were in the past. But then, how does that work with the mailings? How long do you have, so time you apply, how long you have to wait for the?
Well, you guys have to decide on whether it's got a public hearing or a regular hearing.
Right.
It's not something that I can determine. And so,
Well, I still don't understand why a developer can't come in and he's on Main Street, knows this is going to be a public hearing, so I'm just
Because of
signing
the
up for it.
noticing.
The noticing, right, but
Yeah.
it still takes that time from the time he comes in to get the determination. Waive the choice, so to speak, but I don't want to spend, a lot of time. We've talked about it before. I know there's a reason why. And then go right to meaning like they can put the notices in, because I think this is what I've done in the past.
okay.
You put your application, you put your public notice in, you put the paper, you do the mailings, you do all that stuff, and then you're on the agenda for the next meeting as a
There
public.
was something about a 15-day.
Well, it is. So I have,
Examination.
so there's a pending application notice that we have to put in for, so I get an application in and I have to put in a pending application legal notice, which has the 15-day time frame for someone to intervene, which is, I believe, what happened with Cambridge, 64 Cambridge. And then if they're going to have a public hearing, then they need to notify the abutters. I don't know whether those two things can go on at the same time. I think that's probably something for legal to look at.
We could ask them, and that would certainly
But the
help.
only problem is that I mean, look, we have to file something for our next meeting.
Meetings, right. But what's understood was when we went over this 2 months ago, is that if we decided that we needed to add more meetings, there would be the ability to do that. Right?
Why
Just
would-
like we added the extra meetings we decided to do Cambridge on a separate time, right?
But that was a special meeting, and we would have to make
So we
each
can have
of
a
these special
special-
meetings.
Right.
The point being is that if it comes in March, right, we go March 23rd and all of a sudden we're here for 5 hours trying to get through the agenda. And we say, this is crazy, we can't do 5 hours, or we have to cut things short because we're just, our eyes are closing on us. Then we say, okay, we need to throw in an extra meeting.
Why could you not just do the regular schedule and then
And eliminate meetings.
eliminate meetings? Because then they're not special meetings.
Well, how did we end up with only doing one a month? Then we all must have agreed on that.
We eliminated them.
Right.
They
We
were
eliminated
scheduled
them.
for.
I said, why can't they just stay in the queue but then there's a reason for that. There was a reason you couldn't do that.
We'd have to, because while they could be in the queue, I have to file.
I think if they're going to be on
The
this.
requirement is that I have to require, these have to be the meeting schedule has to be filed in the town clerk's office 30 days before the next year's meetings. So tonight, where you can just
Keith.
say, okay,
Jim was talking.
My feeling is that the engineers, when they come to us, they're not prepared, generally. And they're expecting 2 meetings a month. So we go through the same stuff quite often. They know they owe us stuff. They're coming with incomplete information. They know what's needed most of the time. So, and I don't think it's a good idea to show extra meetings because they'll just expect that we're going to have it. And they won't be prepared. And then when we say, hey, we're not going to have the next meeting, then they're going to think that they're not getting what they deserve.
The other thing we could do, I'm glad you brought that up.
I mean, I think we could also, Lois, did you see that there was months that were less busy? When you
No,
reviewed?
I didn't. Very, well, I've got all the particulars down here.
I mean, was it the winter months? I mean, if we split the difference and say, hey, let's eliminate, the January and February extra meetings and keep the rest and just kind of whittle away at it?
Let me see. 2017, we didn't have an early January meeting because of snow, I believe it was. And we had to put everything on to the 25th. So we had a 4-hour meeting that night on the 25th. So there was plenty in January. February was 2 hours, 2:15, 3:15 in March, 2:30, March 22nd. That was the winter time for 2017. 2018 was pretty much the same thing, 2.5, 3, 2, 2.5, and 2.5. That was 2018, and 19 was 2, 1.5, 3, 2.25, and then 3:45. So no, I didn't see any correlation to winter.
Yeah.
So summertime, we know we already only have one per meeting, one per month rather, but the engineers all know that. They know how to work around that. And it's only for 2 months. It doesn't mess them up for the entire year.
And the same for the holidays.
Same for the holidays, right?
To jump on what Jim was saying, we have the decision time limits, right, that are the guidelines here.
Right.
And if we don't have a meeting every 2 weeks, are we still able to meet these? Or
Not always.
if they're, as Jim's saying, they're not coming prepared and we're saying, okay, bring it the next meeting, and this stuff gets pushed out farther and farther,
I mean,
we start to impact our decision time limits.
there's the 65-day extension time. You can consistently go into that if you want to. I think that's probably what would end up happening.
But I
But
think,
then we just piggyback application on top, one on top of the other, and we end up,
And then they start with planning and zoning, which is slow enough in itself. And this, there's a reputation here of slow process. I would hate to continue that reputation of taking too long to make decisions.
so, Commissioner Stewart just said was kind of, when he said
So
about the
would that be
engineers-
like every application then would go to public hearing?
No, it's an option. So it means that you could waive the decision, the determination, and say, I'm going to go, because you assume the public hearing is the harder one, right?
Right.
You got to do all that extra work. They say, well, for the past 20 years, every time a project to this caliber came, it always goes to public hearing. So we're just going to accept that that's going to happen as we expect it. And we're just going to put forward the effort right now, and apply. Because I remember when I had to do it in Trumbull, that's what we had to do. You did everything right up front. There was no determination. At least I don't remember that, unless it was done not in a meeting, but if you're doing something on Route 25 and it's commercial property, you're going to, or 111 or anything, it's going to be a public. So you're going to waste a month. Now at this point, if we go to you're going to waste a month when you have the option just to apply, just to waive the decision. You follow what I mean?
I do.
What if they want to get it done? What's the quickest way to get to this approval? Well, we'll skip this hearing determination and we'll just go we'll take the worst hand, which is do public.
Keith, 90% of the applications we do are rush, and then the property sits there. It does nothing. I can't tell you how many applications we push through rapidly. And
No, it's not us.
nothing happens.
It's not us trying to be rapid.
Yeah, but the point is
them trying to
that
get-
you're saying that everybody's in a rush. Not everybody is in a rush.
No, but people don't want to come 3 or 4 times if they don't, or, you know, it's nice to get it done. And if it's a simple thing, they get it done in one meeting, or if it's not a heavy thing. The other thing, because I don't want to forget. So Commissioner Stewart mentioned about engineers coming with missing stuff that they should know should be on plans and whatnot. If we're trying to get things done and people come ill prepared, I'm wondering if we have the ability to, if they have to come back, that they go on the back of the agenda. They go at the end of the agenda. And then,
Okay. I do understand what you're saying. My concern is that I think at one point it was perceived that there was too much power in the staff office and not enough for the commission. I think that has since changed. However, right now, Joe is just an interim and not really all that vested. And while I know there's a new person coming in, I don't know what their take is on it. So I don't have the resources at my disposal. A lot of times it's just me. And so I can't always see if it's short or not short as far as what's on the plans. I don't review the plans.
I think what we're talking about is what Commissioner Stewart said. We're here, we're having a discussion with the applicant, and we find things that are like just not there that should be there. Like they should know, almost like I think he's inferring that as a professional, you should know that should be on your plan. But if you're just lazy, or you're not thorough in your office, or you had the new guy do it and no manager or principal and check the plans before they came here, and now we have to extend it to another month. I mean, I think that's what he's getting at.
Is that what you're getting at, Jim?
Wake up.
I think what Jim was getting at was that, my interpretation was that they needed that time. They wanted to get the motions, they wanted to get things in process, but they needed more time to pull everything together. Am I close, Jim? Or could keep
I think that if they know there's a once a month meeting, they're not going to all of a sudden submit all the right information at the right time. But often they don't submit it. Then 2 weeks later, they know they got the extra time, so they just come in with a little bit more information. And we waste a huge amount of time talking about the same application, just getting started every meeting. It's just,
that's my point.
We spend an hour a night just talking about the regular stuff that's not even dealing with the applications, in my opinion. So I think you'd save yourself an hour off that total time, just not having another meeting and just approving minutes once and going through all the items once. I think that you could do it with extra meetings, as long as everyone's committed. You do a special meeting if you've got to vote on something to make the timeline. Or, you tell people, if you want to have 2 meetings a month, I'm okay with that, but I think that you don't assign, I wouldn't even have the same people every meeting. I would tell applicants, hey, you're not going on the next agenda, you're going on in a month from now.
Right, meaning like if
because
someone
you don't need to talk to
opportunity-
the same engineer on the same project every 2 weeks. It's too much. They're not getting the work done. How many times do they say you get a planting plan? They come back and they say, well, we need another week or 2. 2 weeks is not enough time to do anything.
Tell someone in the office that, I'm
No,
sorry.
it would happen in the meeting. Like if someone comes along and they're on the agenda and we're all here to look at their application, and all of a sudden the guy's missing like a whole bunch of stuff that should be there. They know, they're professionals, know it should be on the plan. Oh, we're going to do that. Like for instance, the planting list isn't on there. Everything that shows plants, there should be it's a standard in the industry. If these things are not there and we're spending time, asking, it'd be like, okay, we're going to table this application for a month and come back, not 2 weeks, come back in 4 weeks when you got it all done and make sure it's all there. I mean, are we obligated to like, I don't want to say spoon feed, but like deal with people that are in essence wasting our time. Like we could have closed this night, but they didn't put together the right amount of materials that they know they should.
Right.
And it's not like a,
Well, the alternative there would be to start developing a hard-nosed approach and say, read the regs, everything you need is in there. If it's not in there, it will be denied for incompleteness. And then we start denying applications. That'll go over really well.
well, that'll
I will
give us
tell
a
you
bad
that-
reputation again. But
Exactly.
I think
So,
it should be
mean,
known, I think it should be known in the application time, when they pick up the applicant, or any of these engineers, you know, the word will get out through all the big engineering houses quickly, right? We just have to send them out a notice from us.
I don't
Which should
like
be
it.
fair.
I think there'll
A
be too
public
long.
notice, we
We've
can make
got
a
too
public
much
notice. But
business.
what I'm saying is that in it could be right there in bold on the very top. Incomplete applications.
I believe it already is on the application.
It is. It's
So
one of
then-
the,
And yet, but
reasons
we
for-
have to, so I have to, from my end, I have to accept whatever they're willing to give me.
Right.
And while, even if it says it on there that I need a CD and I need a soils report and if they don't want to give it to me, I can't deny it in the office. So I'm going to accept it and then you guys are going to get it.
well, that's what I mean.
Well,
We
let's
would
say
have to.
You could apply this, but, you know, we could start to have a warning. You know, the commission has the right to deny this application. It's not complete. So do you want to still submit? Do you still want to pay your professionals to come out here for the night, spend a couple $1,000s, and they don't have the right stuff? Because he's right. I mean, it's a very good point. You know, we should be moving much faster through this application.
Which type of meetings are we gonna hold?
What, Clark? You're echoing.
Can we go back to, are we gonna do one meeting a month or 2 meetings a month?
Once we decide,
We we're going off on a tangent here. We're just going down a sidetrack somewhere.
Well, I think what it is that Commissioner Stewart has brought up a good reason why we shouldn't be so flexible to the point where people just abuse it, because if we'll half-ass it tonight, get in there, you know, get some hours in front of the commission, and then, you know, we'll bring the rest of the stuff in 2 weeks because it's only 2 weeks. Where if it was a whole month, you know, now the client will start to be like, you guys came unprepared, and I got to wait a whole nother month.
wait a
You know,
minute.
start to put the pressure in the right.
But I,
Look at this from another point of view.
Okay.
In 2006, I know that was a long time ago, we had 31 applications.
A year?
Okay? Yes, in a year. And actually, that was only in, I'm not sure what the month was.
It has decreased.
It has, well, but that doesn't mean it's going to continue to be decreased.
Correct, but it has in the
So
years past.
if you think
decreased.
about it, suppose we had another year, say even 30 applications, we would have to hear and decide 2+ per night to get that through. Now, what kind of a job are we doing if we're pushing these things through so fast just to get them done?
That's why we
That's
have to add an
defeating
extra
our
meeting.
purpose.
We would have to add an extra meeting.
The
I
only,
think at this,
That's,
but it's a special meeting and that requires special
has a whole
noticing.
bunch of different notice and a whole bunch of separate requirements.
It's easier to cancel an already scheduled meeting than it is to notice a special meeting.
so canceling a meeting.
Although a special
Let's
meeting
say,
can only have what,
so let's say it's February 23rd and we got one in the second, early March 8th, right? February 23rd, we close out everything on the agenda. March 8th is the next one. By March 1st, you would be able to contact me and say, you know, nothing's really come in heavy, no application, no new applications, no anything. You want to cancel this meeting? And we could do it with the week before? Like, how far in advance? Because that kind of would make sense. So we could just, in our mind, we could say, like, these are our, you know, load these dates up. We'll keep the other dates. And if you only need to know if we could cancel it within a week. Because
you can cancel a meeting within 24 hours.
how much, what is how long is the application supposed to be and how many days before the meeting?
So the process now is it's done the week before. It has to go the week before so that I can get it to you guys so that you
7 days.
have time to review it before the meeting.
Is it a week? It's more than a week?
No, it's a week.
So if the meeting is on March 8th, by March
But I'll
1st,
tell you that you still wouldn't be able to make a decision, even if I got it a week beforehand, I'd still have to do the pending legal notice. We'd still have to wait the 15 days, even if they did a public hearing, it would still have to go to the next month's meeting. So they either have to get it 15 days in before the meeting date.
so you're saying that by the last meeting in February, we would know whether we could cancel the meeting in 2 weeks. As that example.
How about if we say that applicants are only seen on the once a month on that schedule when they submit? So if you submit on the first meeting of the month, you're seen only on the first meeting of the month. So we are not seeing everyone every 2 weeks. We're seeing everyone every month, but that resolves Lois's issue of having too much work.
But the other thing is that I don't know that you can go against your bylaws.
How is that? That's against, because I think what he's saying is like, we'll see new applications once a month. Then the other date is still a meeting, but it's more of like a work session if these applications end up being long and drawn out. So we could table it after, say, 45, if we're in there for 45 minutes, and we know we got we have a mid-month meeting in 2 weeks, we could table it till that meeting and then just load that meeting up with you know what I mean?
So in that case, we would have 2 meetings a month, but we.
On the 6 or 7 months that we can, because there's obviously the summer and the Thanksgiving and New Year's and all that stuff. But we basically, let's just take the dates that are on this proposed agenda right now. All these are all the ones where we're going to open up any new hearings on these dates. If we end up with a bunch of hearings and they're complicated and drawn out, on those months where we have the next meet, we could open it, we can get it going. And then if we're into it for like 40 minutes or an hour, it's taking a long time, we're gonna table it till the next meeting in 2 weeks.
So we kind of imagine.
And those are gonna
flow of work.
and we'll basically, in those meetings, for the most part, just work on applications.
Yeah.
So all the regular business of agenda will happen and we could just determine that, right? And if there is no, and we end up going, if on February 23rd, we go close all the business for that thing and there's nothing pending, then we'll cancel the first week of March or the first meeting of March. Is everybody following what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So basically, we're talking about still having, we're talking about procedural issues, but we're still considering keeping it the same, keeping the meeting dates the same.
But changing the procedure.
Adding.
Well, but we're not talking procedure. The clerk doesn't care about our procedure. The clerk doesn't care about it.
Right.
All the clerk needs
Is the meeting.
Okay, what I'm saying is that these dates we have right now
Yeah.
are full meeting agenda dates. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, they're
And that's
regularly
what we're-
scheduled meetings.
Regular scheduled meetings. The other ones are regularly scheduled, but they're only for continuations of hearings. To solve what Lois's issue is that some of these meetings.
Old business.
All right, I see what you're saying now.
Right? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the meeting. There's gonna be none of the public participate, none of that stuff. It's gonna be considered a special meeting for ongoing applications.
Well, if it's a public hearing, it has to be public.
And I'm not saying it's not public. I'm saying is that the only thing on the agenda
Right, we'll just,
is there gonna be continuations from the previous meeting.
not bond releases, not
None of that stuff.
extensions, none of
All
that.
the little stuff is
Okay.
gonna be done once a month.
Okay,
On this date that we have right in front of us.
okay.
We'll pull back the other dates, and if, like I said, on February 23rd, we close everything, and there's no extensions on any of the applications, then we can cancel right then that night. We can cancel the next meeting.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
But you know what, there's one more thing that we have to consider. And that one of our other responsibilities is violations. And they have a very strict statutory requirement, time-wise and procedure-wise, 10 days.
That's for
If we're going to give an order for
citations, yeah.
citations or anything that's legal, like that kind of
But
thing.
if you're going to still have the 2 meetings, we'll still be.
Okay, so you think that would be okay?
Yeah, I think.
I wish,
Wait, so, but I want to make sure I fully understand what you're talking about. So you're talking about a violation.
Citations hearings would go, if you're issuing a citation, that actually goes to the citation hearing, not back to us, not back to Inland Wetland Commission.
yeah,
Violation.
but there's also show cause, and you have
Right.
10 days. It
Right.
can't be done, notice of violation, what is it?
Not a citation.
Not a citation, but
Notice of violation.
right, but those are informal. There is something that talks about,
If it's
citation.
just open,
why the big push?
if it's open, what?
Why the big push to get to one meeting a month? I don't understand.
It's
It's
just,
been going on like this
for some reason,
years.
it was brought, in the last one we talked about it. a lot
I
of
wasn't
people-
here.
I think a lot of us thought that, maybe be a little, try to save our personal lives a little bit. Just of all things, like if this was our job, it was required, but we're volunteering and, it's, we spent a lot of time the last years. Maybe it's, because if we weren't so beat up from,
64 Cambridge.
yeah, 64 Cambridge.
We did get
But I
beat
think
up on that one.
I think it's a logical solution. It makes everybody happy. And
I don't think
even
it's
if
going
you
to
have-
make everybody
but even if you
happy
have-
when they're
but it could
4-hour
be any
meetings.
hearing. It could be a public or a
Regular.
regular meeting or a NOV. All those can be. if they
Carried to
run-
a second
carried to the-
meeting.
To the next, to the.
Right.
We'll call it the
But no
special.
new applications, so
No,
so
yeah,
only
the agenda-
new
3 things on
applications
the
would be
agenda.
once a month. And
Public hearings, regular meetings, and NOV discussions.
All right.
That's it. Everybody else
New
that wants to.
applications would have to just be at the beginning of the month and.
Yeah. And I
we
think.
could do it
I
as
think
a
we gotta
trial
find-
basis too, because we're not limited to anything.
Right.
Right. as long
Meetings will
as
be,
you
we
still have
can,
the
that's
two-
us just changing an agenda.
Okay.
So the meetings will be public. If it doesn't work out, we just continue us. If all of a sudden, we get a lot of flack because of hearing determinations. But I also would like to see, I could probably have a conversation in the next couple of weeks with somebody about the legalities of changing that to a waiver, if there's a way to waive it.
Okay.
If there's a way to waive the hearing determination and go and apply as a public.
Well, that's right out of the statutes. You don't have to talk to legal about that. You just read the statutes about the hearing determination. And that is, where is that, Donna?
Here's the state statute.
Statutes are state or ours?
Well, ours are a derivative
From the
directly
state
from the
statute.
state
There's a
statutes.
state requiring a hearing determination?
Let me see. I got my statutes back here. Give me a second to find
Yeah, I
it.
do too.
Page 20.
Of the statutes?
Mm-hmm. The regulations, right? Statute,
Oh, of the regulations. Okay.
all the detail on this.
Statutes are different than the regulations.
Mostly it's how to.
Let's see.
That's got the time frames.
Nope, that's not the one I mean. There's another. Now, how does that affect at all the application, the notice to the water company?
It's all done the same, but
Okay,
Yeah, that's all, that would be.
There's just not a wait. They can do that right at the same time they apply. And then as soon as all those time limits expire, or time minimum, whatever it is, then they're on the next agenda.
It says, where possible, public hearings shall be completed in a single session. There's a little humor tonight.
Obviously haven't met our people.
Yeah, this is the bylaws in 2018.
Oh, yeah, well,
However, the hearing may be adjourned and reconvened to a certain date and place as necessary for the full development of the evidence, for the full participation of the parties, and for such other substantial purpose. Provided
You know,
the
I
public.
mean, I'm sorry, but that's another reason not to have public hearings every 2 weeks is you're dragging the public, to 3, 4, 5 meetings.
So do we come back to, it makes more sense, we're talking about two things here, I think. One is approving a schedule, which to me, it sounds like we came to the conclusion that canceling meetings is easier so that we should vote to accept twice a month.
We have to we'll have to figure those out right now, right?
No, this is you have them.
Oh, I got is there two here? There's one.
Two, there's one with,
Oh.
I think,
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the meeting schedule with the 2 meetings a month.
Second,
Wait, what is that motion?
second.
Wait, I'm asking for you to repeat the motion. I wasn't paying attention.
I said I make a motion to approve the schedule with the 2 meetings a month, and 1 meeting a month in July, August, November, and December.
Second
This
is
is 20, a motion to accept the proposed inland wetlands meeting dates for 2022 from Commissioner Stewart, and a second by Commissioner Gingras. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed unanimously.
okay,
The other stuff we could just do at our will.
okay. But,
And then
but
as far as,
try for like new applications on the first meeting of the month.
right, but we could say that's our deal,
Okay,
right? We can determine what we do in each one of these meetings. We just determine what the meeting. So if you want to note that now, if you want to put an asterisk, and then whatever we're going to do in the office, so when people come in
all right.
and ask, I mean, they all, every time someone's coming in, you know that. And we could send, is it fair to say, well,
Jim,
what?
thank you, Jim.
Is it fair for us to publish this we're going to publish this? Does it get published?
It has to be marked on the town calendar, yeah, and it's got to be.
Town calendar, then also can we say like, all the regular suspects will email this to them and
Absolutely,
know that
yes.
this is, or let's say everybody in 2021, we must have emails for all of them, right?
For,
Professional engineers that came in front of us,
yeah, yes,
all that have come for us in 21, will email them and specifically say, these are the hearing dates and these other are for extensions, and it's just as we explained. So they know,
okay.
and it won't be any surprise to anybody. And then so did we figure out whether there's any language specifically about whether you have to have the hearing determination?
I'm trying to find it in the regs, and of course, I know, I'm listening, so I got one ear going this
I
way
know,
and
me
eyes going
too.
here,
So
and then not going anywhere. I think we need a little, before we absolutely say, okay, let's send a letter to the engineers and blah, 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 we have to flesh this out. This
I think
can't be something that we
I could
decide
find out
on the
if we
fly.
can I could find out if we can get any time in front of the legal team about these two things. But here's the thing about what we just talked about as far as I could take a section of this agenda and say, we're not going to touch this tonight, we're going to table it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of me saying, oh, this is March 9th.
We don't have to read every bit of it either. I don't think we have to
Instead of
go
me
through.
saying, March 9th, I decided I don't want to do any public hearings.
My point was that
Public hearing.
we don't have to read everything. IW agent activities report, agent approvals, none. Permitted as of, we don't have to read that whole thing.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
takes you-
there.
that
The
takes you
permitted
20
uses
minutes.
as of right is just a placeholder. It
Right.
doesn't need to be read.
But it just-
But every number doesn't need to be read unless there's action to be taken below it. So we can eliminate that alone, even though you do
But
go
take it
through it
right-
at lightning speed, I have to say.
Right, just so that it's like, it's here.
But it isn't necessary to say it.
I know, I say the same thing every single meeting. It seems silly, but then why is it even here?
Because
Because
it's
not gonna-
Because they're,
If I don't say it, ain't gonna be a-
they're placeholders.
placeholders and you
Right,
if
so
you
then
need
why do
them.
we have why don't we just have
Hmm?
just blank? No bullet, why is the bullet point IPU 2018-01? Why not just take that off the agenda? And I'll just go permanent, write nothing.
Okay. You know what? It can be. You're absolutely right. I'm still going off what was done prior
Right.
in the office. I can, I guess, check and modify at will. So
And just like I said, just like we can determine what we're gonna do in each one of these meeting dates. If we say, we collectively agree that we're only gonna do the full agenda, all the items, these things, on the first or second meeting every month, and the first one is just for
the new,
extensions, table,
yeah, that nonsense, yeah.
right.
All right, I found this, the determination part. It says the Inland Wetlands Agency shall not hold a public hearing on any application, it says such, but it means any, unless the agency determines that the proposed activity may have a significant impact on wetlands or watercourses in a petition signed on, a couple of different things. But we have to hold a determination that the proposed activity, remember we always say the reason we're holding a public hearing is because it may have a significant impact or it's in public interest or both. So we actually have to do that.
Not on page
determination.
20 of the
Now,
regular.
this is page 9 of the statutes. And they
Because it says, I saw
override
this.
everything. They override
Yeah, the
anything.
state
They
statutes.
override anything in our
The
regulations.
commission shall not hold a public hearing on an application unless the commission determines that the proposed activity may have a significant impact. The same thing you just said, right?
Right,
Yes.
yep, it's word for word, because that's where we took it from.
Shall not hold a public.
So it's part of the state statute.
But is this what we're required to determine in order to act on a determination? Or is this like, you know what I mean? Like, it says the commission shall not hold a public hearing on an application. So is this like,
So what they're saying
Like,
is that
say,
you
we
can't
can't-
decide it's a public hearing. We have to do that. I mean, the applicant can't decide it's going to be a public hearing, because maybe it's not. He may think it's going to go that way, but maybe it won't. And it's not his right to determine that. That's what
okay.
the statutes are saying here.
So that means that every town now does this. Because I don't remember doing it. I did it when I was in my 20s for myself. I remember just putting everything in, going in with having everything in your application. Your public notices, everything.
Here?
No, in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Or you're saying this is state.
Yes,
And
this
if
is state.
Statutes, yeah.
Not
We
all
can't do it.
towns
If it's
decide that they're
not-
going to do, but they could be sued
So
if you
are
don't
you
do
saying,
it.
are we saying that we could change it?
No, we can't change anything.
So then every town is doing the same thing then.
No, we can't change this. We could go against the law if we wanted to and subject ourselves to being sued every time.
But I'm saying that means every town must be doing it the same
They
way.
should be doing it,
They should
yes.
be doing it the same way.
I
And I do
use-
believe that most do.
That's the case, then I don't want to continue suggesting it. But I felt like either it was, I don't know if if it came under our own,
No, this
it
is,
was decided by the
you have to
town.
go by,
This is all-
wetlands has to go by the state statutes. I mean, P and Z does too, but wetlands,
Is really
Yeah.
held.
But we have our own regulations. We can change our regulations.
well, the regulations were based on the state statutes. They used the state statutes to incorporate the rules so that we would be compliant with the state regulations.
I'm going to ask, I'm going to see if I can, I'm going to ask if I can ask one of the attorney.
Absolutely.
And then that'll just be like, it seems so logical, but then obviously if I'm not going to bring a case up to the state of Connecticut that it's stupid that a person can't, waive a hearing determination to save time. But, all right, so moving along, we voted on this. Done.
Yep.
Regulation Amendment Committee.
On that,
Okay? For all?
I'm proposing some action on that. I don't know if I need to make a motion. The thought I had was to make a motion to create a subcommittee on that specifically to look at number one, review and revise the existing proposed revisions, which we never finalized. And secondly, the key part is to revise the definitions and regulations regarding invasive species and native plantings to be used in applications. That would be refining the language in our definitions and putting in some additional language. This is a trend. Newtown has just approved their planning and zoning, has approved some specific language. Our Conservation Commission has been working on this language, and I think that we need, as in the wetlands, we need to incorporate some of that. So an action of the committee motion, I don't know the right approach.
So is this so that like we don't ever have to like shouldn't have to ever change any plant on a plant list because that like kind of what that gets at?
It does. Well, if it's a requirement going in, yeah, we could just say, it's got to be native plants, period. I mean, that's if what BJ's talking about is just coming up with wording to present to the commission and see how they like it. And if we
Right, but that would be the goal.
That would be the
we're
goal,
trying to
yes.
get,
Right.
is to have these
To
things
prevent them
not.
from doing oddball things.
Yeah, so it comes to us without always having to make these changes all the time.
Mhm.
This is your list that you can choose from. Where either whether it's a generated list from other entity, we can change it and we could add or subtract things that we agree we don't like or something, and then that way there's no confusion. Anything that they put on the plan, and obviously it only counts within 100 feet, right? So for landscape
In
plan,
our area.
if it's a plan that comes, it's a full set of plans that comes in, that's going to P&Z that has the landscaping that's outside the wetlands. It's only going to cover
Whatever's in our upland review
which
area.
are
Correct.
within 100 feet.
That's all we can do.
It
So
would be good to put the language in, and then the approach would be, once we've all agreed to more specific language, this could be published on the website with links so that the
so
landscape.
so are there any rules or guidelines for having a subcommittee? Do you have to have a certain amount of people? Does it have
No.
to be?
As far as I've known, the only requirements is that you have one from each party.
Okay.
And I'm willing to be on it.
What?
I'm an R and BJ's a D, so we got it. I'll be on it. I've been on it for 100 years.
Right.
Might as well
That's what I
stay.
figured. I figured it'd be pretty easy. So, all right. So
Yeah.
you're requesting subcommittee with you and Commissioner Spence. Anybody else want to join the subcommittee?
Yeah, we're open for.
Crickets. Okay. So a motion, but is this a motion?
No, you guys
All
can.
right. So you guys,
No, right.
all right. So you guys are good to go.
Okay, awesome.
I guess, and then public outreach. You still have
I
more?
got another one.
Oh, go ahead.
Public outreach.
He's full of them.
Okay. I
Well,
would
that's
like,
the next one. So,
this would be public outreach.
okay, so now public, yeah, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess since we don't have to make a motion, I would like to volunteer. I found out Lois was public outreach, is public
Never did
outreach.
anything though, we never had a chance.
I would like to look at updating and cleaning up some of the information we provide to the public, find some better ways to communicate that, which could lead to some of the things you were talking about, the processes.
Right.
My point of reference is up here in the little corner of our page, there's some other applications and forms, additional links.
Right.
We could do more with that, and with this key area in here, beaver issues. We can do more with that, and I would like to look at how we can better communicate with the public via this.
No, sorry.
I think it's a great idea.
I just realized too, is it on that's our webpage?
That's our webpage for the town.
So I also, on that, I probably looked at it, scanned it, but can we also maybe list out all the different things that could be agent approval? So that maybe it's not as scary to some people, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is typical agent approvals, meaning all you got, like the beaver thing. Like, people don't have to come to, if there's a beaver issue, right, they can go to agent and they can get permission.
Not necessarily.
But some of it can be.
If you just look, this bottom paragraph basically talks about who should come before us. And that's one very crowded piece of
Right.
information. that you're going to be lost before, I think it's all one sentence.
Everybody has to go to town hall to start anyways. If it's not, if it's,
Right.
But we can,
if it's a homeowner, right? If it's a homeowner, this is geared towards, like, engineers don't,
yeah, no, that's,
for
yeah.
commercial and all stuff like that, subdivision, they know the deal.
Right.
So they're not looking but for the new person in town that might not understand what goes on, and they might be a little scared, which I think we've heard, or we get that sense from people, like they don't want to, open up a can of worms, so to speak. If they can see right there in the website that, these typical things right here are usually just, a note, agent approval. I don't know how you would say it, but they would know, okay, so a beaver dam or cleaning up a dead tree or some of the little things that always, the pool, the generator. So
Yeah.
that way they know, okay, so it's just a formality we got to do, just so we go get the permit for it.
Uh-huh.
And they just, maybe it might help them just not be so skittish about what we do.
Yeah, just trying to make it a little friendlier and maybe save us some time, but save them some time, make it
Right.
easier. So all of it would, be reviewed. I would assume then, Don, if you get some language together, funnel it through you, everybody could look at it. We can do it publicly if we need to. But I'd just like to take a crack at it.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'll be glad to collaborate too, if you want to.
good.
It could be
It would be nice if the new
Advancement.
wetland guy was here to.
Yeah,
That would be a good thing to drag him into.
I was hoping that maybe he.
Yeah, it probably would make sense to, now that we have it established that you're going to do it, probably should wait till he comes in, because he has a lot of experience with these types of things, especially being at the desk at the other towns that he's worked at,
Yeah, that'd be good.
working with with the general public homeowners. So he's got a lot of that experience. I believe he mentioned that.
Well, there's some low hanging fruit too that we could start on here, so.
Right. Now, there's two violation things that, I guess I could bring them up now. If you guys remember when we had it was Steve's office system at the time. Remember they had all that stuff
Dumpster issues behind.
right behind the building
Yeah.
and all that.
Mhm.
That was back maybe a year and a half or something ago. Apparently the property either changed hands or someone else, there's a real estate agent in there, and they actually went in and cleared out all that area with heavy equipment and all the wetlands. Yes. So it's almost like a similar situation with like
Where the Steve's building used to be?
Yeah.
Still is.
Now,
It's just
Gaetano
Eco
Merritt,
Spa or
real
something
estate.
like that. It's-
So we have kind of like another situation where it's like, these people should have known better. They just got off a violation and that we cleaned up, and they just went, did it. And Joe always looked at it. I saw it. I drove by. I'm like, what are those excavators doing back there? And sure enough, they were.
So we really should issue him a notice of violation?
I think we're going to let Joe or whoever, if he falls into this new guy's lap, reach out to them and say, look, I don't know if you're aware, but see, I don't know if it changed, I don't know if the property changed hands.
It did, the realtor.
Bought
Bought that building,
The
the property.
realtor should know better.
Bought it, yeah.
The realtors know what they're
Right.
doing.
Realtor should know. So again, I think we're going to give them the option to come in and explain themselves. And then, like I said, they should know better. They should, a water course in a town, and not only that, if they didn't, recognize or know that there was a previous violation just a few months ago.
Did we not
Maybe,
ask them to put up signs? Wetland markers?
I
We
don't
did a whole
know.
bunch of stuff back then.
I don't know if we did. They just
I don't know.
cleaned it up. It wasn't,
You know what, I have no recollection. It was more than a year ago, though.
the
I
markers
think that
were like.
20, it was before
Markers are
2020.
one thing. I understand, if you're a commercial, you research properties, you have wetlands on a property. If you're gonna do this, they reconfigured they did lighting outside and put a whole new facelift, the whole building. They painted everything. You don't, I don't know if you get a buy on that, especially if it's your commercial and you're a real estate agent. you know, you should know these are the things you gotta do your due diligence. That's the first one. No, there was something else that Joe didn't bring to the, he's not bring, next meeting, he said just, it was new and fresh, but it was totally, this was, no, there was something else that, I can't remember now. I just had it in my head and I forgot. Oh, well,
Was it another violation type thing?
there is another violation. It's a pretty hairy one, he said, but I don't have any information about it except for what he told me briefly.
Very one. Oh, good.
Yeah.
You haven't had enough.
It's like a 3 properties and they're all pointing their fingers at each other. We're going to get into it, but that one, like I said, that's kind of like along the lines of, you know, it's hard to believe that the real estate didn't know. They just had a violation that was.
They knew.
Same
They
thing with
know.
Monroe. But we have to get to the bottom of that one. I can't remember what the other thing is, but I'll just.
There's one more that I had asked before we add it to the list here, and that's the 1388 Monroe Turnpike, where they clear cut down to the road. That Joe had been out to talk to him, but I think we need a tracking mechanism.
Right. We have that. It's in here, isn't it?
That's 1380, the neighbor. Which they're busy. They're cutting up trees and all kinds of things.
Right. Okay, so pending items are 224 Guinea Road, the 43 Birdseye.
Is there any word on that? Because, no. I'm sorry, I keep having you, you've only been back in the office for a couple of days.
No.
We may have to do something about that because that, from what I understand, has already been sold despite the violations. This is a huge violation. And there was a very large remediation plan. And I'm 100% sure that nothing has happened with it.
The violation is still on the land record.
Well, apparently it didn't deter the buyer.
No, they bought the violation.
They don't know that. I don't think.
I'm sure they did today.
I don't know. I don't know that it was ever on the land record.
It's
I don't, for 224?
Yeah,
I thought it was.
it should be, but
that's what these, people are supposed to do. But again, there's no excuse. Remember we had that person with the pool? A
Oh, yeah.
few years back, they bought the house, the pool's in the wetlands. I'm like, if your real estate agent didn't check on
There's
stuff
problem with
and
real
permits
estate.
and everything else, the
Yeah.
pool had no permit. So that's shame
Which is
on,
frightening.
yeah, shame on the people that
right, how true. Okay, well,
Sounds like this is a job for the new guy to go check that out.
oh, God.
Let him
File
get
by
familiar with the
fire.
territory.
yeah.
He'll learn Guinea Road out there.
Close the meeting.
Right.
Are we done?
I think we're done. 4 Main Street, bond release, 4 Main Street, request for 30,000, it's obviously
It's just a
pending.
placeholder, yes.
Right, okay. So we have a motion to
Motion to
close.
adjourn.
I said it
No,
already.
I'm confused.
Who's doing it?
And they're sitting at
I
home.
did.
I got a motion to close the meeting from Commissioner Garris. You have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This motion adjourns at 8:36 PM.